All right. Okay.
Okay, great.
Ellery, it's all yours.
Thank you so much. And thanks for sharing this hour with me. All of those wonderful comments that were added. I'm excited to show you a little bit of what you can do with Wix and what you can do with it to showcase yourself. So it's an excellent session to answer all those questions. So I'll talk a little bit about maybe why you need an online presence, how to create, design, and manage your site on the back end. So as we get started, I'd love to make this as interactive as possible with all of you. I have my chat open. I'd love to know, why do you think you need a website? I'd love to know. Feel free to unmute, feel free to add in the chat. Why do you think it's important for you? And I do have a variety of majors in here, so great insight into learning more about you.
I know personally that I've kind of started the job search as I graduate in May, and for a lot of applications, they do ask for you to provide like an online portfolio or a link to a portfolio or something like that. So I don't have one yet, and I think it would be really handy to have.
Oh, yes, Morgan, I love that. So you're on the job hunt, you want to showcase yourself, being able to see how your transferable skills, all the stuff you've done in academia, right, can transfer over to a new role. Absolutely. And I'm excited to help you with that today. I have here a few in the chat: promote your academic professional achievements to potential recruiters, an additional item to my resume to give employers more examples of the work, showcase my creative side. Absolutely, that's 100% what you can do, including different skills I see here from UX design. I love it. And as a music major, Michaela, yes, I love to see the different music students' sites as well, and you'll be able to showcase yourself very well. Perfect. So we have a good understanding of all these things that you might want to show on a site, right? And so I'm going to go over a few of these points that you've talked about, but additional ones that I want you to think about. And so being able to own your online content is 100% something that you would want to do. Having that ownness and being strategic and making sure if someone were to search for you, especially if it's a recruiter, because they do that, knowing that it's going to be something that you have power over. So I'll also be able to show you how to create your own search engine optimization, which is SEO, so that you can be found on the search engines for your portfolio that you're using. That may be something that you find like on a spring break, right? So defining yourself, creating this brand for yourself and telling your story and showcasing your work, whether it's to an employer or to clients, or if you're even looking to have customers, right? And most importantly, having those that go onto your site communicate with you and find you so that they can maybe hire you, right? And also having this become your hub. So maybe you showcasing your projects and housing them in different sites. Well, now you'll be able to go on ahead and have this be your hub so you can link all those different things. And I'll show you through a few examples on how you can do that. And most importantly, having that competitive advantage amongst others that maybe don't have that. Excellent. So I'm going to go through an example today. Here we have Ivy Chen, fashion designer and illustrator. I love to show this example because her site is so different. So I want you to see how unique it could be. I'll scroll through her page and I want to hear from all of you. 3 things that come to mind, maybe an adjective perhaps, as we scroll through her page. And we're able to see how she goes from different kinds of design sketches to fruition. She uses really cool scrolling effect to do that. And I'd love to hear from you 3 things that come to mind as we go through her portfolio. So feel free to add that in the chat or unmute. Happy to hear from you too. Three things that come to mind. Okay, so now we'll check out her menu. You've learned a little bit about her in her About Me section. Notice her menus to the left-hand side, very different. She creates like this vertical look. to showcase her items? Anything that comes to mind, 3 adjectives. Olga mentions aesthetic, professional, modern. We have creative, fresh, innovative. So, yeah, so something that comes to mind, right? She anchors her about me section. We have uniqueness, art, beauty, visually appealing, flow, simplistic, engaging. Great. Now, I want to let you know we've probably been on her portfolio for less than, I don't know, a minute. So on average, I just want you to know that if you have a paper resume, recruiters take a look at that, maybe about 6 to 10 seconds, right, Bucky? And if they look at your portfolio, they're hanging out with you on an average of about 3 minutes, right? You're giving them a lot to look at and to take in. And if they see something that they like, then they can go on ahead and go to a specific section. So when you're creating a portfolio, you definitely want to have your work up front. You want them to be able to see it. You don't want them to search for it unless they're curious to see more. Like she was able to create these 2 different categories of her illustrations and of her other work, right? So that's just one example. Thank you so much for participating. Aside from that, let's go through this portfolio process, right? What does it mean and what does it take? And we kind of have gone ahead and split it up into these 3 sections. Very first one is identifying those goals and what is it you want to showcase? Who's your visitor? What's that purpose? And then from there, being able to plan and organize your site with the content that you're going to be including. And last but not least, we do have it here for your brand. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So as you're identifying the goals of your site and the purpose of it, right? Everyone here has maybe different ideas of why they want to have it, but exactly also different ideas of what they want to show. There's a variety of majors in here, right? So understanding that and understanding who you want your visitor to be, you'll definitely be able to start planning out what kind of pages, what kind of features you're looking for. And aside from that, you're also going to be creating what we call calls to action or CTAs. And this is telling the visitor, what do you want them to do when they're there? And you can easily create these with call to action buttons. And they could be anything here for portfolios like download my resume, contact me, learn more about my work. If you're selling something, buy now or meet the team. It just depends on the purpose of your site, right? So for portfolios, you want to have that clear understanding. If it's for an employer, let them know that they can download your resume so that they can give you a call, right? Let them know that you have all these different kinds of works. Maybe you know that it's an internship or a full-time or a part-time job that you're interested in. Maybe you went to a fair and or an event with employers and you know that the kind of work that they do and that you're interested in, and then you can showcase those projects. Have those things in mind and be able to then gather all that content. You want to make sure that you have all your images or your videos or your music or maybe the different projects that you've done and you've created or your skill sets, and be able to have that available and ready to go before you start the process of kind of choosing a template, right? So you want to have all these things built out. Think of it as an outline before you write a paper, okay? So you're going to gather all these items, and even if it's a link to another site that houses your items, having all these things ready to go. I've created a little checklist for you here, and this presentation will be available to you on a PDF so that you can go through it. Feel free to add to this checklist. Here we just have a few pointers, right? Like descriptions of images and videos, having an about me section, or making sure that your resume is up to date, okay? So feel free to add to this, anything that you think that you'll need. And then I've also been able to add in here a nice site map that's going to allow you to visually see how you want to lay out your site. And so you'll notice that we have 3 pillar pages that we want to kind of make sure that you include. An about me section that could house a resume, a subpage with a resume on it. Maybe it's a projects page or portfolio or whatever you'd like to call it, with maybe categories of that work, right? You have a subpage of research and strategy. And then last but not least, a contacts page, because the purpose of that site is to make sure they follow up with you, right? How do they get in contact with you? So this is a great way for you to go on ahead and create a sitemap to create flow and how it is you want to have it organized when you're getting started. And then last but not least, branding yourself, right? What are the colors? What are the features that you have? Do you want that scrolling effect, right? How do you create engagement with your visitor? And I've added a few personal branding tips here for you so that you can go on ahead and get an idea for those that are not very visual or are not, what I would say, into marketing and such. These are a great way for you to distinguish yourself. And I've added plenty of samples in here for you to use. And so this is another wonderful example. Someone had mentioned how they wanted to know, well, what do I show on my portfolio? How do I add projects? This example that I have here, I'd like to use because she does the 3-page rule that we recommend. But at the same time, she's very straight to the point and she's showcasing actual projects that she has completed. Maybe it was an internship, maybe she created different ones. And she's also highlighting that she works alongside many nonprofits, which is something that she likes to work in. So let's take a look here at Rebecca Gladstone's page. And again, just like before, I'm going to scroll through her site. And this is just a coincidence that it happens to be red and pink again. So let me know 3 things that come to mind as we see this portfolio. Okay, so I'm just scrolling through the page. You're going to notice the projects are laid out. Okay, and we have movement. We can open up the different projects, learn about them. She's created this very cool storyboarding effect on how to showcase her project. So any 3 things that come to mind, you can type in the chat. All right, so we've got elegant, energetic, cohesive, yes. Awesome. Notice how she uses a mix of media, images and video, and she uses different slider effects as well. She adds a description of the organization that she did a project on. She explains in quick detail what she did, and also shares where you can follow them if you wanted to learn a little bit more about them. She's very specific on the kind of work that she's doing and her role within these projects. So this is another great way on how you can display your projects and be able to showcase them on a portfolio setting. Okay, so if you were to go here to her about page, you're also able to get a nice detailed slew of information of what she wants any employer or visitor here to learn. Her About Me section is anchored here on the same page. She includes an email, which is a huge tip for recruiters. They want to communicate with you right away. They just saw your work and now they want to contact you. Make sure you have an email that you can be communicated with. And then she shares her professional Instagram as well as her LinkedIn to help create more people to her network. So now you're having a following professionally that you can attach as well. And you'll be able to also fill out a form if you wanted to ask more questions or get more details or maybe even become a client, okay, for the kind of work that she does. Great. So now that we've seen that example, you've seen 2 really good kinds of pages. I've added in here a variety of samples for you to go through. I have variety of majors, very different templates and sites so that you can easily see how you can create different portfolios depending on what it is that you're trying to do and your major. And so these are just a few so that you can kind of go through it on your own and you can get a little bit of inspiration. Now what we're going to be doing is just launching our very own site. We're going to do that in just a few minutes. Any questions so far? Anything that you would like to see? We're about to go into the demo version. Let's see, not yet. Thanks, Morgan. I also would love to know how many of you have started. Have any of you started yet on Wix, on the platform? Show of hands, virtual hands. Brooke says she has. Anyone else? I've tried. Morgan's like, I've tried. Erickson, not on Wix, but on another site. Okay. I've tried as well. Okay, so a few of you. Mackenzie,
Olivia, I
yes.
have a question
Yes.
for that. I mean, you said something about 3-page rule. What is the 3-page rule?
Yeah, we recommend, especially when you're starting out and you want to have an idea of how do I start this process? Because you could be overwhelmed with so many templates. So we want to make sure when you're creating a portfolio, you include an about you section, describing your purpose, why your visitor's there, anything about you that'll have a connection to who your audience is, always tied back to your goal, right? And it's a portfolio. So what do you want to showcase, right? We've labeled it as projects, but depending on your industry, it'll have another name. And so you'll be able to do that. And if you have categories of work or projects you want to show, you can go on ahead and create that with subpages. And then also a contact page. So those three are really key for you to get started and have a starting point, which we think is very important, especially if you haven't done this before. Great question. Okay, so now that we've kind of gone through that, I guess we have like half and half of the people here that have started. So what I'm going to do is go to wix.com. You're going to log in. It could be any email. Wix is based off of a freemium model, which means you can create as many sites as you'd like for free. And you don't have to pay anything for any templates or anything like that. And so you can use any email and know that if you use a student email, you can always update it later on if you wanted to. It's just a login that you've created. And so as you get started, okay, you'll see that you get several different questions depending if you're brand new or you used it before. You'll typically see these prompts that come up when you're first starting out. And what Wix is trying to learn is about you and what's the purpose of the site? What kind of apps or features do you think that you want? What I recommend is just kind of unmarking them and just skipping them. I'll do this with you so that you can then get started in the templates. Here you'll notice that it'll take you to your dashboard, which is your backend tool, and then you'll be able to start designing your site by clicking on the top right-hand corner. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started doing that. As I do this, let's see, I have a question. How do you track the successfulness of the portfolio? For example, would you count the number of visits, resume downloads, and then consider changing the layout or design if you weren't getting the traffic you were anticipating? That's a really good question. One of the things that I talk about at the end is looking at your analytics, right? Which is just that, Caitlin, and having an understanding of what are people doing on your site. And for example, if you sent it to 10 employers or 10 recruiters, you want to look at that information so that you know which project is more popular, where are they spending most of their time, what are they clicking through the most, so that you then can either add more examples or know what you could talk about in the interview if you end up having one. And so when you mention what kind of traffic are you anticipating, it is all dependent on you and who you're sharing it with. So if you're hardcore applying like Morgan's going to be doing because she's graduating, she's already anticipating a certain number of traffic, right? Because she knows that she's sharing it. It's up to her to see through the different statistics and analytics on what it is that they're doing, if you wanted to, right? If you really want to get to that granular level of understanding of what's happening on your site. So it's definitely dependent on you and understanding how many people are going to your site and who you're sharing the link with. Okay, so if you know that you are in application season and you've been applying for the last 3 months, and let's say you're doing applications in LinkedIn, and you have your website listed under the website section for your profile, then you know you're going to be having traffic. So just know that however it is that you're sharing it, that's what you'll be anticipating, and wherever it is that you're posting it. So I hope that answers your question. As we get started, you'll notice that I get the template section. So you'll have hundreds and hundreds of templates to choose from that have already been curated to really get you started in the process. For a novice, this is a huge plus so that you can then not really worry about what are the features that are in some of these, because it's already been done by an in-house designer and developer having you in mind. This goes back to all those different options that it was asking you, like what's the purpose of the site? Who is this for? And so here in the drop-down menu, you'll be able to see a plethora of industries and types of templates that you can use for your site. Many of you may be going into the creative section and maybe going into the portfolio because you are looking for work, right? You are looking to showcase yourself. And depending on the kind of major that you are, you're going to have a nice variety to choose from. You could also include, if you don't see something right away, add it here in the search for any results. Okay, so I'll go really quick under creative and just click on portfolio. And I'm going to show you a few things. One, I'm going to show you that there's a variety of portfolios to choose from and that they all have different features and purposes, right? So typically this portfolio section is for those students that are very visual, they're showcasing work that they've done. And if that's what you're looking to do, but not necessarily post like a resume, for example, then you won't really see something that has an option for a resume, right? So for example, if we were to go here to this Illustrator section, it mainly showcases the work, and it even has a store component. So they're showcasing work in order to have sales. So think of it that way, right? Just pay attention to the different features that are in all these templates. And so, for example, we could click view to preview this template and click through it, go through all the different sections, be able to see how items are displayed. Is this how you would like to use your template, right? It goes back to your goal, your purpose, your features that you're looking for, and also who your visitor is going to be. Right. And at the same time, if you have all step 1 and step 2 ready, this will really help you with the design aspect of it and your brand. Right. And so here you're able to go into each of the sections. Notice that they have a nice pinned social media bar right here. As you scroll, it stays there. And if you wanted to go further and deep dive and see ahead of time, if this template was for you, you can also look at the different themes that change the colors throughout the site if it's something that you wanted to kind of preview ahead of time. So not only can you see a view of it on a desktop, but you can also see a view of it on mobile device. So this is a great way for you also to preview what your site would look like or your template on a mobile device. Okay, all of our templates are automatically set to be viewed that way. Okay, great. So if you wanted to use this one, you can easily use this template. I want to continue looking at the variety of ones that I see. So I'm going to go here under resumes and CV, because now I know that this is a portfolio and a template that is specifically looking for me to display work, maybe projects, but at the same time, look for a job opportunity because it's going to have a resume section, right? And so now you'll be able to choose a variety of templates in here, depending on what it is your background is in, so that you can get started on showcasing yourself and have that intention of having a job. But I do want to mention that you can use any template. You don't have to be pigeonholed to any of these because you can just make it and adjust it and customize it to however you like. So I'm going to go here into this business CV. I'm going to click edit so that I can get started on working on this specific template. And you'll notice that what Wix does is starts building out that template, and it starts building out all of the features that are housed with it that have been designed for you in mind. So as that builds out, let's see, any questions besides Caitlin's? Anything that you'd like to see? We're about to demo the system now. Okay, I don't see any questions so far in the chat. All right, great. So we will push on. Here, what I want you to see is you are now in the editor. This is going to allow you to customize this template as much as you would like and start adding the different items that you have done in step 2, right? Gathering your content. So here on the left-hand side, you'll notice there's a variety of options. These allow you to add items to your template and to customize it further. This plus sign here is to add any elements. I definitely want you to explore, you know, all of them. You can't break this. You have an undo button and have fun with it. Play with all of the different features. So if you wanted to add text or images, if you wanted to add different buttons or call to action buttons or icons, if you wanted to add different sections, right, to your templates, if you wanted to use any vector art, create any logos, you have plenty of options in here to make your page even more unique for your portfolio. And then if you wanted to add any movement, you have all these different options in here too to make your site even more exciting or unique. We also have a variety of galleries. So if you wanted to showcase different projects and create grids, you have a fun way of adding it to your page to showcase. Okay. Other items, someone mentioned music major. I don't know what kind of music. Maybe you're an artist. Maybe you play an instrument. Maybe you have different shows that you've been a part of. And so here's a great way for you to display some of those, either on music or videos. We have a variety of different audio players that you can create as well to add either snippets or teasers or songs, totally up to you on what you want to add and what you want to include. So feel free to play with this elements page. Now, as we click through the first fold here that we have, our welcome page, you'll notice that as I click through the different elements, whether it's a text or a paragraph or a button or an image, I get this floating menu. And this floating menu is there to let you know that you can edit that element that you're choosing. So for the very first one, I'm going to change my image. And maybe you want to get started with adding a headshot. I do get questions about, is it okay to not show my headshot? Do I have to? You don't have to do anything. You can do whatever you want. And so some students are comfortable with adding an image and other students don't want to. So you don't have to if you don't want to. Totally up to you. I'm just going to add one here just to show you how easily you can start editing it. And then you'll notice the icon you can further design or add different crop features. I'm going to add a little filter here just to make it a little bit more unique. Okay. And if I wanted to add movement, like we saw in Rebecca Gladstone's portfolio, you'll notice that I have this little diamond shape icon, and you can kind of preview what kind of movement it is that you want to add to your page. So I'm going to add this one. Okay, great. Now we've updated our image. I can easily start editing and customizing my text here. I want it to be my name. I can change the font. If you create typography, you can upload your own. If you wanted to change the color, notice the theme for this template has these colors here as the color picker. If you wanted to change it, you could by simply clicking edit, and it'll open up here your customization for your page. You can change individual colors, or again, preview what it would be like to change all of the colors on your site. Okay, and if something is appeals to you, you can choose it based on what you'd like to have as a brand. So I think for me, I like this peach one. Yeah, I'll go with this one. Okay, great. So now that I've gone ahead and made a few adjustments, you can see that my page is kind of taking hold and having its brand kind of created, right? The process is working. And so another thing I want to show you is this great update that launched in the fall. And so you could go on ahead and edit individual sections, or you can click on the quick edit button and it'll zoom out. Our users really love to be able to see what's going on a larger level. And so if you wanted to just change each section and see that change automatically, I don't know, what am I going to be today? What are the majors that we had, that we have in the room? Feel free to unmute or type in the chat. What were the majors that we discussed? Journalism. Ooh, I like this. Yes, information science, public relations. Ooh, PR. That would be fun. Accounting. Okay. Let's do journalism. I haven't done that one in a while. All right, so I can put here journalist. I could even put something fun like wordsmith. I don't know, something that you wanted. I'm going to go ahead and change my name up here. All right, so this is my header. And I'll double click on my editor here. So now it's zoomed back in. And I've easily gone ahead and changed my header so that it reflects me. I'm a journalist. I can go ahead and either click on an individual element to adjust it, or I can click on this section here and do a quick edit. So let me just click out here. Notice that this is asking for this particular section, which is called a strip. Okay, and you can easily make those edits by clicking change strip background. So if you wanted to change the color, okay, you could do so. If you wanted to change the image here, you can do so as well to make it more unique for this one section. But I think I'm just going to leave it as a color. I like that better. You can also change it as a video as well. Totally up to you. Okay, great. So now that we've gone ahead and made a few of these edits, I also wanted to show you how easily you can add a button. So this template is saying, hey, I am a journalist, right? I'm a journalism major, and I can easily, I don't know, start editing this as well and change it and make it as unique or customized as I want to. I can remove this since I already have it up here. And I can say, wow, so this is already including a call to action to my visitor to check out my resume and at the same time my project. So this is a great template. I want to go into my menu items. So if I want to change pages and take a look at my menu here, I'm going to click on the pages and menu section. And you'll notice these are the pages that come with your template. And if I were to go here to my project section, okay, I like the way that it's displaying the project. I've got an image, I've got some text, I have title, but I want to create categories of my work, right? So I'm a journalism major and I have different kind of articles. So I guess I'll go into Alexius. What kind of writing or work do you have? Do you have articles that you write for newspapers? Is it magazines? Is it a type of news? What kind of category of work do you want to showcase? It's going to be Alexius, if I pronounced that right. Magazine. Okay, so maybe you have a variety of magazine articles. Did you ever write any short stories or anything else? Let's create categories of work, or maybe it's different kinds of magazines, right? So I can easily go here into add a page, and you'll notice that what Wix does is provides you with these different kinds of layouts. And so if I wanted to go into my project section, I could easily kind of go through one of these and choose a different way to display a page. Okay. I could also, in order to add symmetry to my page and cohesiveness, just click here on these three dots and duplicate this page so that now I'm including two different kinds of writings, right? So I can change this to magazine, articles, and then maybe this one I'll just name, what do we want to name this? Writing samples. So this is my main writing samples page, and I want to create a subcategory. So I'll do that by dragging and dropping this under my writing samples page. Okay. So I'll go here to my writing samples, and really quick, I'll click my quick edit, zoom out, and make writing samples. Change this title. I can add a blurb and talk about the different writing samples and the work that I've done. Maybe in the last few years, I've been able to work with XYZ, and I invite you to take a look at all my different articles. You can name the different articles if you wanted to, or display the different projects or the different samples that you want to do in here. And then you can just double click. Now I'll go here under magazine articles, and I will change this as well. So notice how quickly you can start by customizing it. And when I mentioned to you, please make sure that you gather all your material, you want to do that so that you don't end up wasting time on the process of customizing. You want to have all these things ready to go for you. So I'm just going to move this over here. Okay, great. Add a little bit more centering. And if I wanted to preview this, I can easily go here to my preview button on the top right-hand side. Okay. I'm able to see all of the changes that I've made. Okay, I'm able to go to my writing samples menu item and see my category, my subcategory, my subpage of the writing samples that I have, or I can go into my writing samples page and do that. Okay. So I'm not only able to see those new edits that I've made, but I'm also able to see and preview all of the edits that I've made on my homepage, the movements that I've added. And here you're able to see my different call to action buttons that come with this template. So I'm going to just click back to editor and show you how easily you can connect a button to either a page or an item. And so when you click on this button here, you'll notice that it says that you can start editing by changing the name, changing the text in here. But I really want you to also pay attention to the floating menu option that has a chain link, okay? Because this allows you to link that button to a section to your site. And so here it's saying, hey, do you want this to go to a resume page? And do you want this to take someone to a different web address? Or do you want to attach a document, right? So for us, we're going to make sure that it goes to the resume page. Okay, I'll click preview. Click on the resume page, and it takes my visitor to the resume page. Notice that it has a call to action button to have that person download my CV. I could change this and easily say, you know, I don't want it to say CV. I want it to say download resume. Okay. Maybe that speaks a little bit better. But how do I attach my resume in here? I'll go to my chain link icon, and I'm going to attach a document. So I'm going to choose a file. Hopefully you already have it here under your site files. Okay. You can upload it from your computer. So I'm going to go in here and go to my websites and choose my resume. I have one, a nice little dummy resume. Once it uploads, it'll show up here under your site files, and then you can add it to your page. Notice I have a green little check mark telling me that it's ready to go. And always preview the action that you just created. So I'm going to click on this download resume button. And now I see that I've uploaded my document that I want to share. Okay. Any questions about that? I've shown you how to choose a template, how to preview it, how to add elements, how to navigate the different pages of your template that you've chosen, how you can easily use quick edit button to zoom out and make all those adjustments, how to add a page and create subpages to create categories for your work, and how you can easily start moving all of the different items in here to make it unique for yourself. Now, when it comes to your social media, you can click on the social media bar that's here. And you can easily choose what it is that you want to have. Maybe I don't want a Facebook or a Twitter. I want to keep a LinkedIn and an Instagram, but maybe I also want to include something else. So I know for many people that are visual, they like to use Behance, which is a way for you to add your work. So you can show some examples here and then invite them to follow you in Behance, and you can easily add the link, the web address here for that social media link. Whether it is Behance or if it's a LinkedIn, you can add it in here. Okay, so as I click done, again, preview what you just did. So I can easily go, I know the LinkedIn here has the Wix one, so it takes me to that link, okay? So now you know how to create a site that becomes your hub. You'll be able to create a following and build your network if you wanted to have a LinkedIn in there. And if you wanted to, example, not only have a welcome in the front part of your page, but you want to make sure you showcase your work, you can easily add a section, okay? You can click on the section button and you can say, you know, I really want to have a gallery of my work so that they can scroll through it, my visitors, before they start like going through my page, because the Wix girl told me that you want to showcase your projects and you don't want them to search for your work, right? So I'm going to pick this image gallery. It's images. Notice that it'll zoom out and it'll show you where you're dragging and dropping it. Okay, I chose this one because not only does it have a nice description, but it also has images as well. And so as Wix is adding this to the section, not only are you able to see that it's been added, right? But if you didn't want it in this spot, you can easily see that we have a little arrow that you can move the section. Okay, I want to make sure I keep my welcome page, and I also want to keep my gallery page. So I'm just going to add this as, I think this was journalism. So we can even have a writing samples page here. Okay, I'll remove this blurb, shorten up the space, and then get started on adding what I want to include in here, right? And so what you'll do is click on Manage Media. This is using a Wix Pro Gallery, so a nice little layout. You can change the look of the layout. You can add as many as you'd like. You can remove them. Again, you can add your media here if you wanted to use an image. For many of you, if you don't have visual items, know that you can also use media from Wix. If you need to display an item, there's thousands of images and videos and illustrations that you can choose from. And so, I don't know, I'm going to put in here journalism. All of these are freely licensed for you to use. So you'll be able to have these on your site and you don't have to really worry about them. Okay. So I'm just going to remove this one just to kind of show you, and then you can easily just add a description to give your viewer an idea of what you want to showcase here. Okay, so I'll click preview here just so that you can see what we've just built. A nice little portfolio. I've updated the colors to like this pink peachy look. I like the pop of this darker purple pink color. I've already have been able to make it my own. I've added a nice sub page to showcase my magazine articles. And I'm also displaying a little bit of my writing samples ahead of time. So you can add a nice little description in there, or add it and add an image as well to give it a little bit of an effect. And so you're able to see how it's coming together. I think we've done this for like 15 minutes already. So as long as you have step 2, which is gathering all that content and then being able to write about you. So in this about me section, you don't have to worry so much about how to describe yourself. You can stick to the point of, what's your major or what is your career ambition and what is it that you're looking to showcase. And then you can also check out your contact page here. And notice that this has just a form. If you're using this for recruiters, my rule of thumb is make sure you also have an email and any social media links that you want to include. So I think for me, I would change this contact form so that it includes those things that I recommended for a recruiter. So I think what I'll do is change it to something like this. Okay, perfect. And as it builds it out, I can easily click on this section and delete it and replace it. And just like that, you have the information that you want to include. You don't have to add an address, but you can definitely have, if you want to share a phone number, you can. Some students don't like to, but at least you have the option of having the form and also the quick way that a recruiter can communicate with you because they want to write to you right away. Okay, great. So we've seen all of the editor tools on the front end. I'm going to show you really quick the back end before we're pressed for time. I know we have about 6 minutes left. So let's just say you're happy with your portfolio, you're ready to save it. Here you click on the top right-hand corner and you can kind of give it a name. You're going to be given a free URL that you can use. And so I can put here Ellery's writing works. I'm going to put wordsmith because I think that's funny. All right, so Ellery's wordsmith. I'm going to save that. This is the link that you've just created. The free one includes your email handle, .wixsite.com, whatever you name it. And if you're happy with your site and you're ready to go, you can publish it. And just like that, in seconds, the website is officially launched. Okay, so if you want to see what that looks like, your free website is going to include the URL that you've created. And it'll always have this free banner that it was made with Wix. But all of the function of the site is going to be available. Every single edit that you've made is going to be included in here. And they'll be able to navigate all of the different sections. And you can't beat that. Having this great free site. Remember, all of the templates that you have in here are free, so you don't have to worry about paying for templates. Everyone here today is going to be receiving a code that's going to allow you to upgrade. So, for example, Morgan, who is going to be graduating in May, she'll want to use a portfolio and maybe have her own URL. So you'll have your own domain name for free for a year. You'll have it for a combo and unlimited option, which really the difference between the two is memory. And so thank you for coming because you'll all be able to get a code. Bucky, your host, is going to be sending that code out to you along with this presentation, which I'll be sending to her right after we finish. And the next thing I wanted to show you was the backend tool, right? So if you wanted to see your dashboard, you'll notice that you can go here on the Wix icon on the left hand corner, or you can click on Site to go to your dashboard. This is where I mentioned before that you can include search engine optimization so that you can be found online. We've partnered with Google, so you can easily create those tags that are searched online for your page to pop up. And you can easily follow the steps, clicking on the marketing and SEO section to get started on how to do that. Wix walks you through every single process, so you don't have to worry about being alone. Also know that you can add SEO to any section of your site. So whether it's other images or projects that you've created, you can add those taglines so that when someone searches it, they can find you organically. You don't have to pay for ads. Great. So here you'll notice you have a contact section. Like I mentioned before, you can be strategic. Maybe you have 10 recruiters that you're sending the jobs out to. You can import those contacts here and keep track of them. You can then follow up on the communication section. So Let's just say you wanted to add a chat feature to your page. You'll see those messages in here. If anybody fills out those forms that you had in your contact page, you'll be able to see those messages here. And you can also attach an email if you wanted to, so that you can email everyone directly from here. Again, under your marketing, you'll have a nice plethora of tools. You can have email templates that you can use to send out to employers, or anyone else that you'd like to send messages to. You can also send different social media templates that you would want to create and send out. And at the same time, you can also check out the analytics reports so that you know what's happening on your site. What are they gravitating to? What's the movement that's going on? So my page has just been created, so you'll notice that it kind of splits it up by month. And my page obviously doesn't have a lot of movement, but you'll be able to see all that traffic that happens behind the scenes, so you can kind of keep track of what's going on your site. And yeah, pretty cool, powerful stuff that you have here on the dashboard that'll help you manage your site. You can click here on the home page button, and it's cool because Wix will kind of walk you through like how far of the process you've gone and what steps you need to make so that you can complete your site. And you have a few different site actions that you can do. So maybe you want to rename your site, you can do that here. Maybe you want to send this to a professor or someone else to get feedback as you're working on it. This allows you to send them an email, and they'll have access to it so that they can kind of give you any feedback that you'd like. And you can totally duplicate, trash, or create a new site through here. Okay, so I know that's a lot, but I definitely want you to have fun as you're going through this process. Don't skip out on the steps, because you could get overwhelmed when you're going through the templates and get lost in like customization section. Know that you can open and create as many different sites as you'd like for free. And reasons why students like to upgrade is to have their own domain name, and maybe remove that little strip. I've added additional resources for you. So any questions that come to mind, you can always go in here 24/7, plenty of articles for you to go through. I've added here Wix Learn. So if you want to learn even more how to use tools on Wix, this is a great place to do that with different tutorials for free. And just a few more portfolio and FAQs, any questions you might have. These are the most common ones that I get from students. And more portfolio links for you, as well as the last of the spring webinars that we have available. Feel free to go and attend any of these for our partner schools. A little survey to see how you enjoyed the presentation. Everything we share is what students like to see. So excited to hear your feedback. Any questions? I know we're right at the end. I don't see questions. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to see your portfolios.
Thank you so much. This was really helpful.
Awesome. Thank you, Alaya. I can't wait to see what any of you create. Feel free to share it, Bucky. I'd love to see what you make. I can't hear you. Oh, there we go.
Okay, I was here saying thank you. I did not know you couldn't hear me, but that's fine. Thank you so much, Ellery. That was very, very, very informative and very, very amazing. I'm sure that student got a lot of things to take away. And like she said, I will be sending you an email with this slide, and you also get 1 year free premium. So woo to that. You would also get that details as well. So thank you all so much for coming. If you have any questions, You can reach out to me, but Ellery, can they also reach out to you? Would that be, let me know your thoughts on
Sure.
that.
Let me go ahead and put in my email here.
Perfect,
Any
perfect.
questions you think of, but you also have this that's here 24/7, which is our Wix Help Center.
Okay, yeah, so use the Wix Help Center first. If nothing that you're looking for is there, then I would recommend reaching out to Ellery. So, but then that's amazing. Also, since I would share the PDF with you, if you don't mind using the QR code to share the feedback, right? That would be very helpful for you as well. So definitely do that once I share the PDF with you. Perfect. Yeah. You can do that. If you have a minute, you can do that right now. If not, I would say when I share the information with you, please feel free to provide feedback. Aside from that, that is all we have. If you have any friends that did not attend today, just let them know to reach out to me because we have the recording and I will be diligent to share it with them, but they just missed out on the free premium code. But aside from that, they can watch the recording and use it as well. Thank you all again for joining. I hope you'll have an amazing day. Okay, bye everybody.